Hey, what's up guys? Spencer Rhodes here, and this is my review of the Sonic the Hedgehog, or the Sonic Forces 3-pack action figure review, or 6-pack if you want to include the CHAO. It has Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and then an individual CHAO with each character. These figures have been opened before. I actually opened them a few weeks ago, and after I opened them, I decided that I would do a review, so I kept all the original packaging so I can pretty much show you what everything looks like if you find this in stores. I found this at Target. It's a Target exclusive, and there's the Sonic the Hedgehog logo. So that's where it says Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, CHAO. I guess Tommy was one of the companies that are responsible for this set, and this is what you get when you see it. And this is the packaging, this is the box, and this is the plastic. There's two layers like this, and it's actually shaped like the figures, so it actually does give a pretty decent seal on them. So it's a pretty good packaging for those of you that are wondering. There's a little background, and there is the characters, and this is a more accurate representation of a CHAO with the pink, the yellow, and the blue. And with these figures, it's just mostly blue. But I'm still really happy that we got these three CHAO figures in the set, because there's been a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog figures made, a lot of the characters, but there haven't been many CHAO figures. There was just one CHAO figure from 15 years ago that was made, and it's big, and it doesn't really go with the Jazzware figures. And these are the Jazzware figures. There's a lot of these, and they're posable, but the CHAO figure was too big. It's pretty much like almost 2/3 the size of this. So you couldn't really go with the Jazzware figures, but these can, because these are smaller. And I'm a big fan of the CHAO. I love the CHAO Garden and the CHAO parts of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And I really wish that they would bring the CHAO back and bring them back into the game. But even though the color is not quite right, it's still cool, and it's honestly possible that this is the way they would look in a new game, because Sonic the Hedgehog is very well known for redesigning everything. I mean, look at what they did to Knuckles on the Sonic show. I mean, you know, they redesign a lot of things, so maybe they redesigned the CHAO so that they're mostly blue. But if that were the case, then why would it be accurate on the back on the picture? So maybe they were just lazy, but it's still cool that they added them, because at GameStop there is basically the same thing, the same set, but it doesn't include the CHAO. It's just Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. So when I saw the Target exclusive, I was very excited and had to instantly buy it. And I think there was only one, so I kind of lucked out. Anyway, let's get to reviewing the figures. Okay, so there are the three main characters. There are the characters with their CHAO. Let's look at Sonic. It's actually surprisingly more posable than it looks. Not too much more, but more posable. I mean, you can definitely see the articulation, but it's just, it's very, the arms are pretty good. They're really smooth, and you can twist them really easily, but you don't feel like you're breaking the figure, and you know, they stay in whatever position you want them to be in. And it didn't quite look like it. It looked like there was articulation, but it didn't look like it was necessarily really good articulation. I guess there's a little bit of plastic that came off, but I think it was like that before. Yeah, right there where it bends. I think there was just like an extra bit of plastic that just came off. But yeah, once you start moving it around, it just like this little bit right here kind of comes off. I don't know if that's on purpose or not, but the legs just kind of go up and down. I mean, nothing ridiculous, but I mean, you can really rely on it to be still, but they still move easily. And it's a pretty good looking Sonic figure. The colors are right, and the likeness is good, and I like the eyes. It just has a nice simplicity to it, so I like it a lot. And I'm going to go ahead and compare it to the Jazzware figure. And obviously this one has more posability, but these figures are well known for breaking, and I have to be very careful with it because I don't want the limbs to break, and they do look like they could break. And it's definitely more detailed and a little more light colored, but this is kind of a different version of Sonic. This is the Sonic from Sonic Forces, and these are all from Sonic Forces, so some differences are to be expected. And in the ways that it's more simple and less posable, I think it almost makes it better or as good as the Jazzwares. I'm not worried about this figure breaking as much as I am about the Jazzwares, so I like both. I don't really have a preference, but I certainly don't think that these are worse. Let's go ahead and go to what is definitely the weakest figure out of at least the main three, which is Tails. If I get that CHAO to stand still. And the problem with Tails is that his arms are, pretty posable, but look at that. He's too short. Tails is supposed to be the same height, if not a slightly bit shorter than Sonic. He's not supposed to be like that much shorter. Like, he's not his kid. Like, they're pretty much supposed to be the same height. And Tails just looks weird. He looks like he has no midsection or something. There's he's too short. He's too short. Look at how long his legs are, and then look at how short his entire stomach and chest area are. It's just too short. He just looks weird, and it's really disappointing because this is the big problem with what would otherwise have been a solid set. It's still a pretty good set, but this is what keeps it from being a solid set, just the fact that it's so short. And it's really disappointing because this Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, it's a really good set of the main three. Or it would be a really good set for the main three if it wasn't for the fact that Tails just looks ridiculously short. Tails should have been taller, and he just looks weird, and he looks off with like a missing midsection. But there's his wings, and it's a good figure except for that. It looks like Tails. It's a good face for Tails. He's happy. The eyes look good. The paint's good. The colors are right. It's simple, but it's well made. And I'm not worried about it breaking, and the posability is fair. But it's just too short. He's too short. This is not how he looks in Sonic Forces. He looks pretty much okay in Sonic Forces. I know a big part of the criticisms for the game was that Tails was too much of a bitch, and he was too much of a coward, but why make him shorter as a figure? I guess Tails just got screwed over as a figure and in the game. But with that said, let's get to Knuckles. Knuckles is one of my favorite characters, and I like the way he looks. He looks pretty good. He's pretty much as good as Sonic, if not better. He really reminds me of the way Knuckles looked in Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. And I like his smile and his design and the paint, and the posability is really good. I mean, the arms are pretty posable. It's not as good as Sonic, but it's still pretty good, and you can pose them and see, like, that looks pretty good, I think. Like, he's angrily running at something, but the legs just go up and down like all of them do. And his eyes are purple, in case you can't tell. But it's I keep saying this, it's simple, but it's good. I think Knuckles and Sonic look really good, and Tails looks good except for the fact that he's too short and his stomach and chest are just not correct looking. But anyway, let's get to the 3 CHAO. So here are the 3 CHAO. Put them all together for a minute. So they're all happy looking, but if you play Sonic Adventure 2, this would mean that the CHAO is evil. There's good CHAO, bad CHAO, and normal CHAO, and when a CHAO gets this kind of smile, it's usually going to become a bad CHAO, and it's usually just a good indication that it's going to become an evil CHAO. But that's just kind of an interesting bit of trivia. It's 15 years later, so it could be just a normal CHAO like the other two. And like I said, the paint's not right. It should be yellow. This should be yellow. The top and the arms should be yellow, and the wings should be pink. They have the wings and everything. Everything's there. It's just not the right color. But like I said, they could be redesigned in a future game to where they are just blue. I would be kind of disappointed by that, because a cool part of the CHAO is, you know, they're different colors. If you feed them animals, they will take parts of the animals and inherit parts of the animals, and they can be hundreds of different colors. Well, maybe not hundreds, but they can be a lot of different colors. So I'd hate to see them all just be a generic blue. I feel like that's just kind of lazy. These can pretty much go with the Jazzware figures, so that's actually pretty cool. And they might be rare because we've never really had CHAO figures before except for the big one. So depending on how many of these that were made, these could be hard to find. I'm not sure. I would definitely go to your local Target if you want to get this set. Anyway, overall, I like the set okay. I will give it a 7 point. I don't want to give it a 7.5, and I don't want to give it an 8. I'll give it a 7.7 out of 10. I am very irritated about how they made Tails disproportionate. He should be taller than this. His body and his chest and his stomach should be different looking. He should look more like Sonic and Knuckles. Oh my god, CHAO, stand up. But other than that, the faces look really good. They got the eye colors right. And I like the paint, and they're durable, and they stand up easily. And I feel like a child could play with them, and they might not break and they might not scratch. It just depends on how brutal the child was. If you're just wanting some light play, they would probably be alright. So if your child's a Sonic fan, or if you know someone that's a little kid and you want to get this for them, they could play with it and probably have some fun, and they wouldn't break easily or chip easily if they can handle the fact that Tails does not look right. But my two main problems with this set is that, again, Tails does not look right, and that I wish the CHAO had the yellow tops, the yellow hands, and the pink wings. But it's really cool that we just got CHAO. So I'm happy that we got CHAO, and I'm happy that we got 3 different looking CHAO. So if you wanted to try to customize these CHAO, you could get a bunch of them and then make them different colors. And, you know, from there they would look pretty cool. But as they are, they look pretty cool. Overall, I like this set. It's not perfect, it has some flaws, but I'm glad I bought it, and I am glad to add it to my Sonic collection. So that's about it. So what do you think of this set? Are you interested in buying it? I would suggest looking it up on eBay or Amazon, or checking out your local Target and seeing if it is there. Anyway, with all that said, I'm Spencer Rhodes, and I will see you guys later. Bye!
Gotta go fast!